How's it going, everybody? Welcome in to another episode of the Mavs Step Back Podcast. I'm your host, Dalton Trigg. I may or may not be joined by my colleague at DallasBasketball.com, Grant Afseth, at some point during this podcast. We'll just have to wait and see. But for the time being, I'm going to solo this one. Look, it's been a whirlwind of Mavs stuff for the last about 14 hours. Because at 5 p.m. on Tuesday, the news broke that Mark Cuban is selling a majority stake in the Dallas Mavs worth around $3.5 billion. He's selling a majority stake. So that was a shocker. According to Shams Charania, it's kind of he called it one of the more unique setups he's seen in a deal like this, because even though Cuban has sold or is selling a majority stake in the Mavs, he is supposedly keeping full control of the team, and he's staying hands-on and all that stuff. So I don't know. I don't know how to feel about that in my eyes, and I'm not like fluent in ownership speak, NBA ownership speak, but just from the outside looking into this, it kind of makes me wonder, is this sustainable for the foreseeable future? Because how can you not be a majority owner of the team, but yet you have full control of the team? It just doesn't make a lot of sense to me. Now he still retains his shares of the team, obviously, and it's been reported by multiple people that he's still going to be in charge, but it's just something to keep an eye on. If the new ownership ever decides, well, maybe we don't want Cuban here, what happens then? That's all I'm saying. So I don't know. Maybe it'll all work out. Maybe there's nothing to worry about anyway. But we'll just have to see. I don't know. I mean, what do you guys think about all this? I put my thoughts out there on Twitter. There's been some mixed replies that I got in the post that I put about it when I said that I didn't know if this was going to work out long term. There's been a lot of people say that because the Adelson family that is buying this majority stake in the Mavs, they own Las Vegas Sands, which is that's casino stuff, and they're worth. I saw somebody say they're worth like $33 billion or something like that. And Miriam, she's the wife, apparently, of the CEO of this fortune and everything, and he has passed since. So, I mean, there's not a sense that she wants anything to do with actually running a basketball team. So maybe this can work. Maybe if Cuban wants to sell and get $3.5 billion while retaining, the team part of all of this, maybe he can just worry about, the basketball team specifically, not everything else, surrounding the team. Then that might be a win for him. But, again, it's just kind of weird. This came completely out of left field for me. There were some rumblings during the offseason that there was an unsuspecting sale that might happen in the NBA. And, when the stuff came out about Michael Jordan selling his majority stake in the Charlotte Hornets, it was like, oh, okay, well, maybe that's what it was talking about. But that wasn't really unsuspecting. I mean, we could have seen that coming from a mile away with how the Hornets have performed over the years. But, with this coming out now, you look back at some of the other reports that were out there between the summer and now, and it's like, oh, okay, yeah, that's definitely what they were talking about. Because nobody saw this coming. It's crazy. It's crazy. I'm still processing it. I'm sure there will still be more to come out on this in the coming days and weeks, but just crazy. I mean, whether Cuban, continues to have control or not, and everybody says that he will, it's still a big change. I mean, this is, new ownership is a big deal. And maybe it ends up being a good thing for the Mavs because, there's going to be more money involved now. It's not just on Cuban to, pay player salaries and all that kind of stuff. Cuban has this vision for the Mavs to have a brand new arena in the near future, and he wants it to double as a casino. Well, obviously the Adelson family, that's kind of what they do. And so maybe they're able to get gambling passed in Texas to where they can start a project like that. So maybe it was a strategic move, that kind of gets the ball rolling with all that stuff. I don't know. It's interesting to say the least, though. I mean, we put a couple of things up on DallasBasketball.com. Our guy Mike Fisher, who's been the head of the snake over here at DBCom for forever, 25 years or almost 25 years and counting. He has a piece up talking about, the Adelson family and who they are and all that stuff. And then, I wrote a piece too, speculating on, well, could this potentially mean that Cuban is going to make a run at president? Because he's been in rumors for that in the past. And, it wouldn't shock me if he's taken a step back from all this other stuff. He's already announced that this is his last year doing Shark Tank. That came the day before all this news came out about him selling a majority stake. So, could he be potentially getting into a political type of thing? If it's not president, could it be governor of Texas? Some way that, he can influence things to where he can. And maybe it's not all about that arena. Maybe it's not all about gambling. But, you can kind of see where he might be wanting to influence all those things. And this could be a strategic move to for him to get what he wants. So we'll have to see. I have gone back and forth on this since yesterday, the last 14 hours. Obviously, I got a little bit of sleep last night after Mavs Rockets, but it was crazy. By the time the game had actually started, it was just like, oh wow, there's a Mavs basketball game tonight, because literally everybody was talking about this. I go to a gym there in Hattiesburg after my day job during the day, and I was listening to the radio. A radio channel, not a sports radio channel either, on the way home. And even those people were talking about the Mark Cuban news when I was on the way home last night. So, I mean, it was a big deal. DallasBasketball.com was just jumping. But anyway, we are going to talk about this another day when we have some more information. I'm going to recap, what happened in the Mavs Rockets game. But first, I want to tell you about the Sleeper app. If you think you know sports, and if you want to, kind of up your daily fantasy sports game, you need to get the Sleeper app and use the promo code STEPBACK, all one word, all capital letters, STEPBACK. Use promo code STEPBACK and get up to $100 matched on your first deposit. It's a really easy app to use. They make it super easy to pick the over-under on several different stats. Just go to the app, go to the NBA section if that's what you're wanting to bet on. So just for example, today we're going to have the Lakers and the Pistons. We're going to have the Wizards and the Magic. We're going to have the Suns and the Raptors, the Jazz and the Grizzlies, the 76ers and the Pelicans, and then the nightcap, we're going to have the Clippers and the Kings. So a healthy dose of NBA action on this Wednesday night. Some of the stuff, here's some of the things I'm going to be taking the over-under on this slate. So Joel Embiid, 10.5 rebounds. I'm going to take the under. I know that might not be a popular pick, but I have a feeling that Joel Embiid is going to struggle a little bit against that Pelicans front with Zion Williamson and Jonas Valanciunas. I think that now he might score a bunch, but rebounding wise, after seeing especially how the Mavs did against the Pelicans, and look, I get it, guys, I get it. The Mavs don't have Joel Embiid, but I don't know. I feel like I'm going to take the under there. I'm feeling a little risky. I'm taking the under on Joel Embiid, 10.5 rebounds against the Pelicans. Kevin Durant, 4.5 assists against the Toronto Raptors tonight. I'm going to take the over. I think with the way the Raptors defend, I think they'll be paying a lot of attention to KD, given how many, points he's averaging this year, which is like, he's one of the top scorers in the league. He's in the top 3 with Embiid and Luka Doncic. I think they will throw the kitchen sink at KD, which will force him to pass a little bit more. And, if he passes enough, I think it'll be pretty much a given he can get 5 assists. We'll have to see, though. And then LeBron James, Lakers against the Pistons, over under 24.5 points. I'm taking the over for the ageless 38-year-old. I just don't see how, he doesn't get his against a Pistons team that has been absolutely brutal this season. They're the worst team in the league. They're 2-15. The Pistons, they can't make up any ground no matter how many lottery picks they end up with. It's just pretty bad down there or up there in Detroit. So I'm taking the over. I think LeBron scores easily. The only way I don't think he gets the over is if it's such a blowout by the fourth quarter that he doesn't have to play in that fourth quarter. But we will just have to see. I'm taking the over on LeBron, 24.5 points. And again, if you want to use the app and you want to get up to $100 matched on your first deposit, use promo code STEPBACK. Get the Sleeper app, put all your info in there, and use the promo code STEPBACK to get $100 matched on your first deposit. Up to $100 matched on your first deposit. So, guys, the Mavs and the Rockets faced off on Tuesday night. It was intense. It was infuriating. It was also fun. It had everything you wanted in a good rivalry game, I-45 rivalry game. Now, the Rockets, they're not the greatest team out there because, offensively they only rank like in the bottom 10 of the league, but they have improved tremendously defensively under first-year head coach Ime Udoka. They are tied coming into last night's game. They were tied with the Minnesota Timberwolves for the top defense in the entire league. They were first in points given up to opponents. And, it presented a big challenge for the Mavs, who had shot under 40% from the field in 2 straight games coming into last night. So you're thinking, okay, if you're going to be breaking out of a shooting slump, do you really want to be doing it against arguably the best defense in the entire NBA? And, Luka had been on a personal shooting slump himself. And, lo and behold, the Mavs come out there and despite falling down by 9 points in the third quarter, entering the fourth quarter trailing by 4, they end up beating the Houston Rockets in Dallas at home to open what is going to be the longest homestand of the season at 3 games. So they win by a final score of 121-115. Luka, on a night where Dirk Nowitzki was making play-by-play calls on the broadcast with Mark Followill, scored 41 points. How fitting is that? He broke out of his shooting slump. He shot over 50% from the field, 15 of 29, shot 8 of 9 from free throws. The three-point shooting didn't get back up to where it needs to be because he was only 3 of 10 there, but 41 points, 9 assists, 9 rebounds, and most impressively, we've said this a few other times this year, he had 0 turnovers. This is the 3rd game this season that Luka has had 0 turnovers in a game, and he's had at least 30 points in each one of those games. He almost had 50 points in the first one he had, which was the second game of the season against the Brooklyn Nets, scored 49 points and also had 0 turnovers in that game. So Luka, efficient scoring, wasn't sloppy with the ball, paid attention to detail, knew he had to against one of the better defenses in the entire league. And, going up against Dylan Brooks, who talks a lot of trash, but Luka said after the game that he actually looks forward to playing against Dylan Brooks. Like, he has fun playing against Brooks and the intensity that Brooks brings every time. And, they actually get along with each other, believe it or not. So, it's good competitive stuff. They went back and forth last night. Kyrie Irving, after struggling and only scoring 5 points in the first half, he exploded for 22 points in the second half, ended up shooting 8 of 22 overall, hit all 9 of his free throws and had 5 assists thrown in there, had a steal, had a block, finished with 27 points on the night. And, I'm looking at the box score here to see what I missed, because obviously you remember the big stuff like Luka and Kyrie. I did remember, Derrick Jones Jr., he played a big factor in this game, scored 15 points off the bench. First time Derrick Jones Jr. had come off the bench all season. Josh Green got the start, and Josh Green went for 5 points, 7 rebounds, 2 assists, and a block in 30 minutes as a starter. So not bad for Josh Green, and him and Luka were team highs plus 12 on the night. And then, so coming off the bench for the first time all season, Derrick Jones Jr. had the right attitude. He brought the correct energy, and he ended up with 15 points on 5 of 7 shooting, 2 of 3 from 3. Also had 6 rebounds, 1 assist, and 1 steal, and no turnovers. And he was a plus 11 off the bench. So really good stuff from D. Jones. Jason Kidd said after the game they wanted to see how he handled it coming off the bench, because they wanted to make a change. And some guys, they just don't handle it really well. But this was if this was a test, then Derrick Jones Jr. passed it with flying colors. So we'll see how it goes going forward. I think I kind of like the idea of starting Josh Green, because I feel like he plays better alongside Luka. And then you bring Derrick Jones Jr. in there and kind of sprinkle him in with Luka and Kyrie Irving. And the lineup I really like, and I have to dive into like the advanced numbers on the lineup stuff, but the lineup I really enjoyed seeing last night against Houston was Luka, Kyrie, Josh Green, Derrick Jones Jr., and Derek Lively. So you have Derrick Jones Jr. playing a small ball 4, but then you have Lively at center. And, I really enjoyed that lineup. I thought that was really fun. So, I haven't checked those numbers on that, but just the eye test, watching that, I feel like that's a really effective lineup for for the Mavs. So even though Josh Green got the start for Derrick Jones Jr., Derrick Jones Jr. finished the game along with Josh. So, it worked out. So the Mavs, they are able to avoid losing 2 games in a row. They improved their record to 11-6, and they have a chance to build on it. They have a chance to win consecutive games for the first time since November 10th and 12th, so nearly 3 weeks ago. They have a chance to win consecutive games against, and they're playing the Memphis Grizzlies at home this Friday. So the Grizzlies, they're struggling. They're 3-13. They're depleted. Don't have, Ja Morant. Don't have Steven Adams. Just several things have gone wrong for the Grizzlies this year. And the Mavs will have a chance at home with multiple days of rest to up their record to 12-6. And then they'll finish up this homestand. They'll play the Oklahoma City Thunder on the second night of a back-to-back in hopes, if the Mavs can take care of business against the Grizzlies, then they'll have a chance to, and I've mentioned this a few times already this year on this podcast, but the most games over 500 the Mavs ever were last year was 6. They could not reach that 7 games over 500 mark. They couldn't break the seal, so to speak. If they beat the Grizzlies, they'll be 12-6, and they'll have a chance to go 7 games over 500 against a very good Oklahoma City Thunder team that has been struggling lately. So, we'll see if the Mavs can finally do it. Will they? I don't know. It seems like every time they have a chance to do it, they run into a team that's really good. Oklahoma City, they were 11-4, and the number 2 team in the Western Conference before they lost these last 2 games, but and they're 7-3 in their last 10. So really good. They have good balance too. They're 5-4 at home. They're actually better on the road, 6-2. So that'll be a tough one for the Mavs on Saturday, but we'll get to that one when we get to that one. First things first, take care of the struggling Memphis Grizzlies, a game that you have to win, in my opinion. You can't lose that one at home. So take care of that one, and then we'll look forward to OKC on Saturday. But guys, look, I appreciate you coming in and listening to me on this Wednesday morning. I hope you enjoyed the game. I hope you enjoyed some of the Cuban selling talk. Again, like I said, I'm not 100% fluent in ownership speak, so to speak, but it's just really interesting to talk about, and I'm curious to get you guys' thoughts on it too. So if you follow me on Twitter, let's talk about it. If you watch on YouTube, leave comments. If you have questions, let's talk through all this stuff together. So don't be shy. Leave comments. We'll get a conversation started and go from there. So, guys, I appreciate it. Y'all have a great rest of your Wednesday. Have a great rest of your week. I'm going to try to be back on here Friday night after that Grizzlies game. I'm going to either Friday night or Saturday morning with my guy, Drew Johnson. We're going to do another pod following that Grizzlies game. So, I appreciate it. Be sure to go like, rate, and subscribe on all your favorite podcast platforms, and hit that subscribe button on YouTube. Please leave us a bunch of comments, likes, all that good stuff. Really appreciate y'all. Our goal by the end of the year, and we may not get there, but with the way it's been growing since the summer, there's a chance. But our goal is to try and get to 15,000 subscribers on YouTube. We're pretty close to the 14,000 subscriber mark as it is right now. We were pretty close last night. We may have already crossed that. I haven't checked yet. But that's the goal by the end of the year, 15K subscribers. Can we do it? I don't know. We're going to try. But, guys, I appreciate it. Y'all have a great rest of your day. We'll see you next time.